Okay, today we're going to do solving systems of equations using the elimination method. We've already done substitution, we've done solving graphically. We started elimination, but today we're going to do some harder problems. Okay, so let's look at question number 1. 4x plus 15y equals 17, and negative 2x plus 10y equals negative 26. So the first thing we're going to want to do is we're going to want to look at the coefficients of each variable and see which variable will be easy to get the same coefficient with different signs. Okay, so if I look at my x's, I have a 4x and a negative 2x. So what I would like to see is if I can make that negative 2x a negative 4x so that when I add those equations together, they would cancel. And I can do that by multiplying the bottom equation by positive 2. Okay, I also would probably want to check my y's and see if it would be easy to eliminate my y's. Well, I'm not going to be able to get that 10 to be a negative 15 by multiplying by anything. So in this equation, I'm going to decide to eliminate my x's. Okay, so you have to make that decision. It's a little bit of a strategy. Which is going to be easier? In this case, eliminating x will be easier. Okay, so I multiply the bottom equation by 2. I rewrite both equations. The top equation I didn't do anything to. Bottom equation, multiplying each of the values by 2, so that will give me negative 4x plus 20y equals negative 52. Okay, now I add my equations together, and I get 35y equals, if you need the calculator to do this, that's fine. I have to do 17 plus a negative 52, and that's negative 35. Divide both sides by 35, and you get y equals negative 1. Okay, once we have the solve for one of the variables, we plug into either equation, either of the original equations to figure out, in this case, we need to figure out what x is. So I'm going to use the top equation because it has less negatives. So 4x plus 15y equals 17. I'll plug in that negative 1 for y, and then I'll solve this equation. 4x, 15 minus negative 1, times negative 1 is negative 15. I'm going to add 15 to both sides. And I get 4x equals 32. And I divide both sides by 4, and x equals 8. Okay, so that's your answer. X equals 8, y equals negative 1. So if you wanted to check this in GeoGebra, you could graph both equations, and you should see that the intersection point would be the point 8. X is 8, y is negative 1. And I'll just show you in this first one. So 4x plus 15y equals 17. And negative 2x plus 10y equals negative 26. And I'll zoom in, and there's my intersection point 8, negative 1, which is what I got. So that's good. All right. So that's when I only have to multiply one equation. Okay, the next couple of problems we do, we're going to actually have to work with both equations in order to get a variable to eliminate. So let's look at question number 2. Number 2 is 4x plus 5y equals negative 30, and negative 9x plus 3y equals negative 18. Okay, again, what I want to look at is the coefficients. Here I'm working with a 4 and a negative 9, And here I'm working with a 5, positive 5, and a positive 3. So I have to decide what's going to be easier. Now, unfortunately, I can't multiply 4 by anything to get it to be positive 9. I can't multiply 3 by anything to get it to be negative 5. So I'm going to have to multiply both equations. The way I like to do it is to choose the variable that has the smaller coefficients. Okay, so I'm going to choose to eliminate y because those coefficients are smaller. Okay, 5 and 3 are smaller than 9 and 4. You could do either, but we're just trying to make it easier for ourselves. Okay, so the easiest way to do this is to take the coefficient on the y and multiply the other equation by it. So that first equation, the coefficient is 5. So in the second equation, I'm going to multiply that second equation by 5. In the second equation, my coefficient is 3. So I'm going to multiply the first equation by 3. So kind of almost picture doing a little switcheroo here. Okay, so now if I look, 3 times 5y is 15y, 5 times 3y is 15y. I need one of them to be negative, so I'm going to I'll make the bottom one negative. Okay, now I need to write 2 new equations. Multiply the first equation by 3, you get 12x plus 15y equals negative 90. Multiply the second equation by negative 5, you get 45x minus 15y equals negative 5 times negative 18 is 90. Okay, when I add these together, your y's will cancel, and you get 57x equals negative 90 plus 90 is 0. Okay, if something cancels and it's the only thing on that side, you get 0, and that's okay. Don't worry about it. It's a number. Divide both sides by 57. And you get x equals 0 divided by 57 is 0. Okay, now I'm going to plug back into one of the equations. I'm going to choose the top equation. 4x plus 5y equals negative 30. 4 times 0 plus 5y equals negative 30. 4 times 0 is 0. 0 plus 5y is 5y. Divide both sides by 5, and you get y equals negative 6. Okay, again, you could check that using GeoGebra. I encourage you to do that. Question number 3. (7x plus 8y equals negative 9, and negative 4x plus 9y equals negative 22. Okay, again, I'm going to look at my coefficients. I'm going to have to multiply both equations by a number. So I'm going to choose to eliminate x's. That's going to be my strategy because those coefficients are smaller. 7 and 4 are smaller than 8 and 9. Okay, so again, I'm going to take that 7 and move it here. And I'm going to take the 4 and move it here. Okay, and I don't worry about the negative just yet. Okay, I'm just looking at the number of the coefficient. 4 times 7 is 28x. 7 times negative 4 is x will be negative 28x. So those will cancel if I multiply by 4 and 7. So that's what we'll do. So I get 28x plus 32y equals negative 36. Then I get negative 28x plus 63y equals, let's see, negative 22 times 7 negative 154. Okay, we add these together, and I get 95y equals, let's say, negative 154 minus 36. Oops. Negative 190. Divide both sides by 95, and you get y equals negative 2. Okay, again, plug back into one of the equations. I'm going to choose the top one. So negative 2 is going to go in for y. 8 times negative 2 is negative 16. And I'm just going to add 16 to both sides to give me 7. Divide both sides by 7, and you get x equals 1. Okay, number 4. 3x minus 2y equals 2, and 5x minus 5y equals 10. If you'd like, you can stop the video and try this on your own, and then play the video to see how you did. Okay. I'm looking at my coefficients, and I feel like the coefficients on the y's are smaller, so I'm going to work with that. I'm going to eliminate the y's. You could eliminate the x's, but I'm going to eliminate y. And so I'm going to take the coefficient of the 2, put it on the bottom one, the coefficient of the 5, put it on the top one. Okay, 5 times negative 2y is a negative 10y, and 2 times negative 5y is negative 10y. I need one of them to be positive, so I'm going to make this one negative. So negative 2 times negative 5y will give me a positive 10y. Okay, so now I can multiply those equations. 15x minus 10y equals 10. And negative 10x plus 10y equals negative 20. Your y's cancel, and you get 5x equals negative 10. Divide both sides by 5, and you get x equals negative 2. Okay, plug it into one of the equations. I'm going to plug it into the first. I keep plugging it into the first, but really you can plug it into either. 3 times negative 2 minus 2y equals 2. Negative 6 minus 2y equals 2. I'm going to add 6 to both sides, and I get negative 2y equals 8. Divide both sides by negative 2, and y equals negative 4. Okay, so that is solving equations by elimination when you have to multiply both equations by a number.